Hello and welcome back to Future You, the podcast brought to you by graduate careers experts Prospects. I'm your host, Emily Slade, and in this episode I chat to Harriet Kirby, a play therapist.
Yeah, I'm Harriet Kirby, and I'm currently working for a company as a play therapist, and I work in schools within Greater Manchester. I work one-to-one with children, or small groups, and work with helping children express their thoughts, feelings, and experiences. And this is done through play, which is probably the most natural form of communication for children.
Amazing. So, to begin with, are you able to tell us about your educational journey and how it led to you pursuing a master's in play therapy?
Yeah, I did an undergraduate degree like over 10 years ago in psychology, and I always had a massive interest in children's mental health. It was actually what I did my dissertation on, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I knew like what interested me, but I didn't know where I wanted to go with it. So I took a bit of a break from education, and then I went traveling for a while and worked abroad, and then I came home and I heard about play therapy and I looked into it, I researched it, and I thought that is exactly what I want to do. And then I found a postgraduate degree through Leeds Beckett University and in a postgraduate certificate in therapeutic play skills. So I did that, and then you have to do another one, postgraduate diploma in play therapy, and that's how I ended up working. Yeah, doing the play therapy and working. So yeah, it's taken a while, but I did purposely have a break while I was deciding what I wanted to do.
Yeah, perfect. So, for those unfamiliar with the profession, you've briefly touched on it, but how would you describe the work of a play therapist?
So I would describe play therapy. It is therapy, but for children, and it's designed to be for children, and it's more accessible for children. So children probably do find it very, very hard to verbally communicate what it is they're feeling. And it's that they don't have that understanding yet because they're still really young of what they're feeling and what has caused that feeling. So a play therapist uses play. So in the playroom, there's clay, there's arts and crafts, there's sand, puppets, little toys, and there's some games. And this helps children to communicate, and it allows us to communicate with children on a level that they understand. So, for example, if there was a child that was really struggling with friendships and maybe having a lot of disagreements, they might start playing out a friendships scene, like imagine with like little toys. Then what the therapist could do is reflect it back to the child so they can hear and like let it enter the conscious mind of what's happened and see if they have the skills already to de-escalate a disagreement. So if they've managed to resolve it in their little scene, they've got those skills there. So it's just the therapist to sort of allow the child to understand and recognize, and then maybe could relate that to a real life event. Or if they don't have those skills yet, the therapist can create like some conflict within that scene. So sort of imagine that you like my toy was disagreeing with their toy, and either see how they deal with it or support them through dealing with it. So that's just an example of something that could happen. And it's really good for like children with additional needs, it helps support children maybe who are being diagnosed with autism or ADHD. It helps like a real good observation of like who the child is as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, is the qualification that you hold in play therapy transferable to other forms of practice?
Yes, because I am as a play therapist. Once you've done all your qualifications, you are a registered therapist. So in that sense, you are a therapist, but you specialize in play therapy.
Mhm.
And then if you do some extra courses or CBD on other forms of counseling or therapy, then that could be transferable in other ways. But once you've got the qualification, there's so many other avenues to go down. And like I say, you're already a registered therapist, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, completely. Brilliant. So, I imagine this role can be quite emotionally demanding. So, what measures are in place to support and protect you?
Well, during training, one of the first things that happens is to say that you may need a therapist at some point during this training, you may feel like you need to refer yourself to therapy, or the people, the course director may decide to suggest that therapy would be a good route for you. But something that you have to have to in order to work as a therapist is you have to have supervision, and that's once a month. And when you train, it's twice a month, and that's really good because that sort of keeps you in check, keeps you allows you to express difficulties that you're having, or and allows them to, talk to you about feel like you might be struggling with that a little bit. So supervision is brilliant for those things.
So is supervision like a one-to-one meeting with a professional? It's not like you're being observed while you're
Oh
practicing.
yeah, yeah. So it's a one-to-one individual that you find them, you seek them out, someone that you have a good relationship with, and you have that one-to-one, and it's just between the two of you, and you can. It's an hour and a half the sessions, and you can just use that however you feel you need to use it. So if I was really struggling, I was finding it quite hard work, I would speak to my supervisor about those feelings.
Yeah, but there's no requirement to have a therapist, but you might be advised
No.
to.
Yeah, you might be
Yeah.
advised to, yeah, but with supervision, that sort of keeps you in. That's sort of everybody's way of saying that you're working ethically, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you find that it does sort of get on top of you, this work, or are you
Yeah.
fairly stable?
Um, it can get on top of you. It is hard because you're working so closely with children
Mm.
who may be going through something really difficult. It is difficult not to take on those emotions, and it's sort of trying to navigate having that I'm quite good at stepping away from work and having a bit of a, not I don't really take it home with me, but it is a lot sometimes.
Mm.
And sometimes it can be even things like struggling to build a relationship with that child, or you get children that like can destroy the room or refuse to go, and that's really, really hard as well. That's something that you can take on emotionally as well.
Do you have an age limit of the children that you work with, or is it up to the age of sort of 16?
So it's usually between 4 and 11 years old, like primary school age.
Mhm.
But if a child maybe is developmentally at a lower age, then that would still work. But I actually work in a high school at the moment, in a special needs high school, and it works really, really well for them.
Mm. Yeah. So, in your experience, what qualities or skills do you think are essential for somebody looking to succeed as a play therapist?
But you have to be empathetic and
Mm.
understanding of all the issues that a child and their families might be dealing with. They can't go in with having judgments of who people might be or how they live their lives. I think that's really, really important because one of the key things in play therapy is to be non-judgmental. Every session, you should be going in like that. And you've got to have some drive and purpose and really want to do it. I think if you weren't really 100% sure on it, I think you'd find it really hard. Like, I think you'd find it really challenging.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's a really good point.
And also, you do learn this. Well, the training is very, very good with this, but really like being able to reflect back at yourself. Like, if there's something not like being aware of your emotions, like what might trigger you, what you might find difficult, and also if there's something not going quite right, it's reflecting what you could have done rather than, "Oh, the child did this, the child did that, what have you done?" And I think if you have to be quite willing to do that. It's not a skill that you'll just have, but
Mm.
knowing that you have a willingness to do it. Like, I've always struggled with when the child makes a bit of a mess in the playroom. I find that really, really difficult, but I know that's my problem, not the child's. So that's for me to look at and have to put that to the side. But you have to be very self-aware, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. What advice would you give to those considering a career in play therapy or even just therapy more broadly?
I would really recommend making sure you look at all your avenues, where you want to train, who you want to train with. There are so many different forms of therapy. And sort of know where you eventually want to go with it. I knew that I wanted to work in schools. I've trained alongside people who knew that they wanted their own therapy business. So having that intention already, I think is really important because it, it is a bit overwhelming and there's lots going on. There's drama therapy, art therapy, there is just talking therapies. So having a direction and a route that you want to go down and knowing what your purpose with it is, I think is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that we haven't covered today?
I think the other thing I wanted to say is I really like that we're talking about play therapy, and I like that I've been approached for this because I feel like sometimes play therapy is still very like misunderstood. Even the schools that I've worked at are still don't really get what it what it is. They think it's just playing with children rather than working therapeutically with them. So it is still very much misunderstood. It's getting better, much better. But yeah, I think some people see it as playing and having fun rather than like therapeutic work. And that can look different between sessions. Like sometimes it might seem very playful, but that's okay. That's what the child needs at that time. But yeah, just it is still quite a misunderstood industry, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder, we now have all of the news coming out about um, they're looking into how the pandemic has affected children, their
Yeah.
well-being, their schooling. I wonder if now is the time to really start leaning on things like play therapy within schools, within social areas to work through those issues that came out of that.
Yeah, yeah. Get quite a lot of children, especially attendance, avoiding school, being very anxious in school since all that.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think I always look at it like play therapy has this lovely room with toys and stand, and it seems it's a very approachable for a child. If you think you walked into a room and others just have to sit and talk, that's a lot for a child, really. And I have been children that have been referred to me and said that they tried counselling, it just didn't work for them. So it's having that a bit more approachable for a child. But yeah, I definitely think that with everything that's coming out, I think like that's a push for these sort of interventions, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Amazing. If anyone listening has any questions and they'd like to reach out to you, are you happy for them to get in touch?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
No worries. Thank you.
Thanks again to Harriet for their time. For more information on studying psychology or getting into therapy, head to prospects.ac.uk. If you enjoyed the episode, feel free to leave us a review on Apple or Spotify. Thank you, as always, for listening, and good luck on your journey to future you.